So I'm going to show you my method. I've already done it once, which sucks. So I'm going to do it again. But like I said, my friends thought it would be worth taping it and showing you guys how I do it. And again, I hope it helps you. So let's begin. So the first step we need to do is to support the function of aligning the stripe to the car. Part of aligning the stripe is creating what I like to call a fixture or gauge, so to speak, so that when we are ready to apply the stripe, we have something that stops and locates the stripe from sliding around as we squeegee the soap and water and Windex away from the stripe to apply it. Okay, so I'm going to start the process of making my stops, my gauges, to maintain or identify the location of the stripe when I line it up. So what I like to use is blue tape. The issue though is that it's too thin. The stripe backing will slide over the tape easily, so just one blue tape thickness isn't sufficient. Now the problem is I want to stack it, but I need to be cognizant of the adhesive. I don't want to compromise it too much because I need it to stay on the car for a little while. So I put down some saran wrap. Actually, I don't have it. I would rather use wax paper. If you have wax paper, that would actually work better to not compromise the adhesion or the glue on the blue tape. So what we need to do is to raise or thicken the blue tape. So I'm going to stack it up. And it's not anything you have to be accurate at first. Like I said, I'm OCD, so I like to put it nice and clean or as close as lined up as I possibly can. And I like to go at least 5 or 6. I need it thick enough to be confident enough that it, when I locate the stripe, that the stripe doesn't jump over it as I'm squeegeeing it. Because if you've done striping before, you know. If you haven't, what the issue is, you have to put a soap solvent and Windex, because you don't want to apply the stripe without that, because the stripe will stick instantly if you don't. You need time to align it, and then the process is to squeegee the fluid away from the stripe so that it starts adhering. So I want to make it thick enough so that I can use a little bit of force. I don't have to be delicate with it. It's like bump stop, boom, there, squeegee. If it moves again, I bump stop it. So I'm going to stack my tape up. Like I said, I like 5 or 6. There's no maximum. If you want to make a brick wall and stack 100, go for it. Again, you don't have to be this accurate because we're going to adjust it accordingly. We're going to use a straight edge and we're going to use an X-Acto, and I'm going to show you exactly what to do. So I think for me personally, I'm at a good thickness. So what I want to create now is a very straight edge so that the stop lines up with the stripe, or even if the stripe's got curvature at the front, I create a tangent point. Tangent point is the exact contact point of a curve to a line or a straight line or a point. That's a tangent point. So I want to create a really hard, accurate, straight edge that is going to interface with the stripe. I'm going to use a triangle because, again, my dad was a graphic artist at Chevrolet, and I was a body design engineer on the board, so I have a lot of these tools. Straight edge, anything straight, plain and simple. So all you do, I know this is basic stuff, but I just want to explain to everybody step by step what I do. So basically you line, and you don't have to make it perpendicular or square to the edges, it doesn't matter. The only important part is that it's a straight cut. It's regardless of whether the tape is a little bit crooked. You don't have to get that OCD. So I want to create a straight edge. So X-Acto knife, you can buy at any type of hobby store or Hobby Lobby or whatever. Easy to apply. Get a brand new blade. I'm using a triangle, anything straight. Steel straight edge would actually be more optimal because my dad's probably rolling in his grave right now that I'm using a triangle to cut a straight edge. So, but this is a very abused and used triangle, so it'll work. So what I'm going to do now is I am going to cut, and don't cut it, don't try to go through it with one pass. The trick with using an X-Acto blade is to not apply a ton of pressure because you don't want the blade to walk. You apply medium to light and just keep cutting until you feel like you've gotten all the way through. That's the best way to use an X-Acto blade in any situation when you're cutting with it. Don't try to cut it to make the full cut with one pass. It's kind of like score it, score it, score it, score it, and then it's cut. Because these things are damn sharp. So I have now 2 pieces from this one strip. So I have 2 gauges, so to speak. I'm going to peel it off to show you. So you can see it's pretty thick, and I have a straight edge. And obviously I can tell which side is not the straight edge. So I'm going to put that to the side. Put that to the side, and I'm going to create the rest. I like to make 5 or 6. Again, OCD, I like it to have enough there that I can push it without being gentle or being really like, oh, I gotta line it up. So I put 5 or 6 along the top of the stripe to match, to guide it and align it, and that's the first step.